Watch community, what's up? I'm Andrew Robinson with Leather and Loom, and I wanted to pop in for a video and talk about the Geneva experience. I'm not in my typical backdrop, as you can see. I just moved to Italy, so I'm in this like sketchy Blues Clues chair, but we're gonna rock it. I'm also really congested, so sorry about that in advance. Really, what I want to talk to you guys about is shopping the Holy Trinity, because I don't think that's a lot of what we get to experience as watch collectors. It's something that we hear about, but we don't really talk about it a whole lot, or experience it in person. So talk about the differences between the Holy Trinity in Geneva, talk about shopping Rolex in Geneva, and just talk about whether it's worth going there outside of Watches and Wonders. So I think I can bring some value to the table. So stick around with me and let's talk about it. So yeah, as a watch collector, I think we're all kind of curious on what is Geneva like. If you've never experienced it, I think it's a really rare opportunity to get to live next to Switzerland and go there and experience these things. So I knew when I landed, I was with another buddy of mine who's also a watch collector. I knew I just kind of wanted to look at the city and see how the city's like, and I also knew I wanted to shop some brands now that I'm super close to it. So you get there, and immediately you notice that it's this large city, which kind of caught me off guard. You'd think Geneva is this really old town, and right when you land, it's this big city, a lot of skyscrapers, a lot of industry there. But then you learn very quickly on the other side of this canal or this river that leads into the Geneva Lake. That's where all of the watchmaking is done. That's where all the infrastructure is for watches. So right when I got off the plane, me and my buddy, who's also a watch collector, were like, okay, let's hit up the Holy Trinity and see what the Holy Trinity is about there, but also see what watch collecting is about there. And I think the first point of Geneva is, if you're a watch collector, is it worth going? I think my answer absolutely is yes. Even outside of Watches and Wonders, I think it's a great time to go. They have FP Journe, VC, AP, Patek Philippe, Rolex, all the brands you can think of. The boutiques are beautiful there, and everybody was so nice. I think that's kind of what caught me off guard. Is you think Geneva? We've all had that bad AD experience where you walk in and things are kind of rough, but every boutique I went to, for the most part, they were all super welcoming and they were really friendly and they just wanted to talk watches with me, which was incredible. So one piece of advice I would give if you're going to Geneva or considering going to Geneva is calling the boutiques in advance or sending them an email and let them know you're coming in. Um, I happened to walk into a couple of them. AP is one of the ones that I walked into, and they were awesome. But some of them you can tell, like the FP Journe guys were great, but like they're like, like who is this? Kind of just trying to fill me out. So I caught them at a dead time, which is great because I got to explore FP Journe and the brand. Um, but I would highly recommend you book in advance with those guys. So what was it like? What was Geneva like? Geneva was absolutely amazing as a watch person because the whole city are just like billboards of watch brands. The whole passion and drive of the city is built around watches, so it was incredible. So what is shopping the Holy Trinity like in Geneva? And let me start off by saying, the Holy Trinity, getting one of those brands for me is probably a couple years out, but I wanted to experience it and just see what the attitude would be like from each of those brands and kind of explore the brands. And I think I want to start with AP. So I had a buddy who was very interested in AP. So we walked up without an appointment, by the way, and we walked into the boutique. And right off the bat, the vibes were incredible. They were really welcoming. Right when you walked in, we were like, "Hey, so sorry, we did not have an appointment." They're like, "Don't even worry about it. Come in. Let's walk around." And as we were walking around, we were checking out some watches, and then a very nice lady named Mina comes up, who is a dealer there, and she's like, "Hey, are you interested in AP? What are you trying to do?" And she kind of talked about the brand, and for every watch that they had, it was a story, which was incredible. I think the Code 1159 is kind of a slept-on watch, but even breaking down what the Code 1159 is and what it means to the brand and why they developed it and who it's really targeted for is something that she was able to narrate perfectly. Um, of course, we talked about the Royal Oak and the offshores, um, but my buddy had a really interesting experience there. So, buying an AP in Geneva. No, right off the bat, we did not get Royal Oaks. But my good buddy was really interested in the Code 1159, which is cool, right? It's cool because of a couple things. Number one, it's cool because it's not the most popular AP, right? Everybody knows when you go into a boutique, if you're interested in a Royal Oak, a lot of times you have to buy an offshore or a Code 1159. It is what it is. But my buddy was really interested and he fell in love with the watch. And she was like, "Hey, I think you're the client we're looking for. Let me see if I have one in the back." Which we were kind of like, "Okay, very cool." And I was kind of talking to him. I'm like, "Dude, are you sure you want to? Are you sure you want to pull $25,000 out of your bank account today? You know, we're still traveling around Europe." And he did it. He got the code 1159. There was a great story behind everything, and I think that the big takeaway with AP is they're looking for like an energetic crowd. You know, I think you see online a lot that AP is looking for high rollers. They're looking for guys with millions of dollars. You know, they want you to spend a ton of money in their boutiques. I think there maybe is some truth to that because there's an entry fee to buying an AP, which is a very high price tag. But I think they're looking for, you know, what my vibe was. They're just looking for interesting people, people they're interested in, and um, people that they can talk to and build a relationship with. You know, we weren't, you know, I'm an officer in the army, right? I don't have like $1 million lying around, but I was offered an offshore. He was offered an 1159. I didn't get an offshore, but I think we just hit it off well with the sales rep, and I think that's probably what AP is all about. It's just hitting it off. So that was our experience. It was awesome. I have nothing bad to say about the brand. I'm actually very, very impressed. APs are a little big for me, but I got to say, pretty incredible. The next brand I want to talk about is Vacheron. So a brand that is not appreciated enough is Vacheron. You know, we talk about the Holy Trinity, but it might as well be the Holy Duo with Patek and AP because we just don't talk about Vacheron a whole lot. And I found that Vacheron was the most charming in my opinion. You know, it's not for everybody, and that's obviously true because you know they make half the production of AP a year, and some of that probably certainly has to come from demand. But from their dress watches being like you know that 38 millimeter size at a really you know I say approachable, but I say approachable in the Holy Trinity sense. Uh, $30,000 for a full gold or a platinum dress watch that's limited in quantity, and they're only making 30,000 watches a year. Uh, Kind of a bargain. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. I don't know, but I think it was a really incredible experience. The gentleman, I texted him and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'm really interested in learning about the brand, you know, because I know that's one of the oldest watchmakers, you know, 270 years of watchmaking, pretty incredible. But I want to learn about the watches, you know, the overseas, but I want to learn about, you know, the other stuff." And he sat me down. He was incredible, and I had nothing but a great experience. I think if I were to pick any of the Holy Trinity for my next watch, it'd probably be Vacheron. And the reason being is number one, they're rooted in watchmaking. You know, all the Holy Trinity is. That's why it's the Holy Trinity, right? But they have this untold story, and you know, I don't feel the need to buy an AP or a Patek to kind of say who I am as a person or be like, oh, look at my watch. You know, if I get an overseas and or whatever a 222, if I got something like that, that you know, I don't care who knows about it. You know, it's for me, it's my story, it's what I like. So I think there's some value in VC that is untold, and that's where I'll leave it with that. Now next is Patek Philippe. So you know, unfortunately, we didn't have a great, you know, we didn't have a bad experience at Patek. They let us in without an appointment. We looked at the watches. No Nautilus on display, which I guess really isn't surprising with the Cubitus coming out, and then wanting to push that as their stainless steel entry watch. But uh, yeah, we really just didn't get to interact with any of the people there, which it is what it is. We're in Geneva. We're looking at Patek Philippe. Uh, we walked in without an appointment, so it is what it is. But what I will say is the boutique is beautiful. It is a truly incredible experience. I'm sure that if you were to make an appointment and go there in advance, you'd have nothing but a positive experience. As a watch collector, I thought that Patek Philippe would be something I'm really interested in. But I think as I learned about the Holy Trinity, I learned that maybe not. Maybe that's not the one I gravitate towards. Maybe it's something untold or something um, more exclusive in a way. In a weird way, it's you know you look at VC. A lot of their watches are readily available, but in a way, they're kind of this exclusive watch because they're not purchased regularly. And I find that to be really interesting as well. That's my wrap up of the Holy Trinity. And now I think we should talk about just watch shopping in general around Geneva. So you go on this big long street and it is just full of boutiques. I don't want to name every watch brand because probably every watch brand there has a boutique. F. Journe has a restaurant there. They have their own boutique. You had all these crazy brands that were there, and it was just really incredible. So if I were to wrap up kind of this story of Geneva, I would say number one, expectations were really high when I went, and when I left, they were still satisfied. So As a watch collector, I think it's kind of our mecca to journey to this mysterious place that makes all of our watches that we talk about on the internet, and I was very satisfied. I think it's absolutely incredible. The whole road has all these brands that you can go in and explore. Many brands have multiple boutiques in the city. So even if you're not going to Watches and Wonders, in fact, I might encourage you to go when it's not Watches and Wonders, so you have an opportunity to talk to all the brands and learn about them. It is absolutely worth it. I had nothing but an incredible experience. The city itself is beautiful. You can stay relatively cheap in a lot of the hotels there, which surprised me. Really nice hotels. And yeah, just to wrap it up, I would say that it was a really positive experience, and I highly recommend you guys going. So if you stuck around and watched this, I want to give a big thanks to everybody that came and gave me some love from the Teddy Bulbasaur video. Um, really, I started this company with a friend for friends and family as a small knit thing, but quickly overnight I gained a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube. So thank you guys so much. I promise the video quality will be much better once I'm settled in my actual home. I have my own studio and desk again, and I'm not congested and sick from traveling. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andrew Robinson with Leather and Loom. I had such a fun time talking to you guys about it, and I hope you guys stick around for the next one. Thank you.